As I'm walking and talking myself over to a different part of the Rich Eisen show set here to bring in Brian Billick. I mean, this is the perfect 2020 hindsight situation. And Scott Zolak, again, one of the many people, I was one of them on Twitter too, saying, oh my gosh, why didn't they run the football? And I'd love to just give you the floor right off the bat here, Coach Billick, on this from your coaching point of view. Is this the typical 2020 hindsight that fans and media take part in, or is this a legitimate why in the world didn't they run the football situation?
Yeah, Rich, we've worked together for a while now, and my mantra is, it's atypical. If it works, you're brilliant. If it doesn't, you're the village idiot. You go back to the onside kick of Sean Payton against Indianapolis when he was in New Orleans. Brilliant call, greatest single call in the history of the NFL. If it doesn't work, it's the biggest bonehead move in the history of the NFL. So, yeah, we look at it through that prism. In fairness to Pete Carroll, and afterwards he explained it in coaching parlances in terms of, you have the one timeout, you're going to have to throw it one time, we'd have run it the next two times. He was absolutely right in terms of laying out the sequence of the thought process of what you might do in that situation. I guess the problem I would have with it is at the end of the day, when you have and that makes sense schematically, but this game has been, is now, and always will be about talent. When I got Russell Wilson, I got Marshawn Lynch. I'm not even throwing to Jermaine Kearse or Doug Baldwin. I'm throwing to Ricardo Lockett in that situation. That's probably what they'll rethink for a long time to come.
Brian Billick, NFL media colleague of mine right here on the Rich Eisen show. Let's flip the script a little bit here, because if that was a completed pass for a touchdown, then perhaps we'd be talking about why Bill Belichick didn't call a timeout after the Marshawn Lynch run. I was sitting there wondering, and everyone around me in a Patriots and Seattle jersey were wondering, why wasn't Belichick calling a timeout? What do you think his strategy was right there?
Well, you could definitely make a case for that. I mean, again, you got to keep in mind this thing's happening in real time, and the decisions that you make. I went back and looked. Seattle has run during the course of the season inside the 5-yard line 13 plays. New England has defensed 9 plays inside the 5-yard lines, an entire season. That's what they have to look at. Both these teams don't have a lot to go on when they say, okay, we're going to do this because New England does this inside the 5-yard line. Well, they only had 9 plays inside the 9-yard. How do you know what they're going to do? So all this happens in real time. With 26 seconds left, to think that you could have used the timeouts to at least maybe give Brady one more chance at that's the part I would disagree with both Pete. I would disagree with Pete. I don't know that no matter how you orchestrate that, you're going to leave any time for Tom Brady other than the Hail Mary, throw it up and double pitch back pass, that type of stuff. But you're making these decisions in real time. It was a great finish. It could have gone either way. Obviously, all it took was a little bit quicker pass, a non-interception by Butler, who jumped all over it in a way that you really can't explain. He couldn't even really explain. And otherwise, we're talking about Russell Wilson being a part of the elite quarterbacking crew that on a dynasty Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing how.
Isn't that great, though? Isn't that great that it's just that fine line?
It is. I mean, and the question is, though, when Belichick didn't call the timeout and the clock is rolling, did that cause Carroll and Bevel to overthink it? Where now you're causing your opposition to think about the clock themselves, while it's normally a no-brainer. Just hand it to the beast.
Absolutely. Why give them time to sort it out? And I can't speak for Bill Belichick, nor would I try to, not with his 4 Super Bowl rings. But, the English have a saying, too clever by a half, meaning, you can outthink yourself, and that thought process that now has to happen in real time by not calling timeout. It's the clock's running, so it's now, and I can just hear Pete and Darryl Bevel. Okay, what do you want to do? We're going to throw it. We got to throw one. Do you want to throw it here? Okay, yeah, let's do it here. And as Pete said, then would run. Okay, those are the thought processes you have, and Pete's right. If it's an incomplete, that stops the clock. Now that gives us 2 plays with a timeout. We're to orchestrate what we want to do, and so yeah, it does make sense. But at the end of the day, this stuff happens in real time, and it comes down to the athletes. And what I loved about it was the fact that after the game, Butler couldn't even explain how he knew to jump that route.
Oh,
I mean, as a coach, you absolutely love the fact, just trust your training. And that's what it was. He saw this route combination. You know he saw it on film. You know you practiced it. Didn't even have time to think about it. He just jumped it.
Yeah, I mean, and it was a 1 in a million moment for him. Last question for you. Do you have a play call in your career, offensive coordinator or Super Bowl winning head coach, that you regret, that you wish you had back, that years later, that's sitting now here in 2015, that you regret in a manner that obviously Carol and Bevel will talk about?
Yeah. I mean, everyone that didn't work. I guess the one that most comes to mind is when we played the Indianapolis Colts, when they were playing us. It was our 13-3 year, in 2006, I guess it was, and we were at home, and our defense was brilliant, held them to 5 field goals. And we had driven down the field, and we're in a position to score. And Steve McNair, and we had a pass called, and you have it orchestrated as a team that says you're going to do this, that, and the other. And he kind of did something else and tried to get the ball into Todd Heap, going to one of our best players. I was just advocating, let's go to your best players. We'd structured something on the other side. He decided to come back to Todd, and it gets intercepted, and. Yeah, you can run those over 1 million times in your mind. I think Pete Carroll will, even though he's just getting brutalized with this, in reviewing the process, you did about all you could really do as a coach. It just didn't go your way.
Coach, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
All right, anytime.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.